Hi, my name is Gordy Hogue, and this is Community Connections. Each of us have stories that help us understand each other and help to bring our community closer together. I have been very fortunate to have met many interesting people. People who've had a positive, profound impact on our community and far beyond. People who've had incredible life experiences and fascinating stories. Community Connections is about these people and about their stories. I'm sure you'll enjoy meeting these amazing people as much as I have. Thank you. Please enjoy. Welcome to Community Connections. My name is Gordy Hogue, and today's guests have been active volunteers promoting our community for many, many years. They've run the Youth Ambassador Program, they've fundraised for various community events, and they've traveled with the Youth Ambassadors throughout the Lower Mainland representing our community. Two personable, talented volunteers, two of our community's very best ambassadors. Welcome Debbie Ward and Donna Beaudry to Community Connections. Okay, Donna, tell us a little bit about growing up and how you ended up coming to this community.
So I moved here to White Rock when I was 13, and I started at White Rock Junior, and I met a very nice woman. Her name was Connie Phillips, and her husband was the fire chief of White Rock, and she was running the Miss White Rock program, and she invited me to join, and I did, and I've been involved ever since. Well, I actually helped volunteer for the pageant, and then I actually was in the pageant, and then I continued volunteering after that.
And you've been involved in a number of other things in the community as well.
Pardon me?
And you've been involved in a number of other things in the community as well.
I have. I've been involved with Debbie, and we've done, numerous things for the pier and for, I'm losing it.
What about Pilates?
Oh, yes, I have a business in White Rock. It's called West Beach Pilates. I know it's on Marine Drive, and I've been doing that for the last 10 years as well, since 2010.
How did you get involved in Pilates?
I was an avid yoga person, and I just knew that Pilates was the answer to my future of being fit.
So is it an answer to a lot of people's future?
I think so, yeah. It will get you through. Pilates will get you through the rest of your life. It is very great for your core and just keeping you so you can do all that yard work that seniors want to do and throw those bags of peat moss around.
So what about the mental and psychological calming?
Oh, yeah, definitely mind body connected. Yes, definitely.
How did you find?
Actually, I introduced Donna.
Yeah, Debbie introduced me to Pilates.
Yeah.
Perfect.
She liked it so much, she bought the company.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I came to White Rock. Well, I'm from Winnipeg, and I lived in Winnipeg until I was old enough to leave. And then I went to Toronto, and I lived there for 14 years. And then I moved to South Surrey with my husband and two children. And so when you live in South Surrey, it's kind of like you say you live in White Rock. So we said we lived in White Rock for a long time. And now I actually do live in White Rock. And I think it was the first time in my whole life that I actually felt a part of a community. And that took some time, but that's what's special about White Rock. All of it. That's why everybody wants to say they're from White Rock, even if they're from South Surrey, because it's White Rock is where you go to celebrate Christmas and everything. So I really enjoyed that community feeling, and I was looking for something to get involved in for volunteering, and I tried Peace Arch Hospital extended care. I did that for a really long time, and I didn't like it. It was not my thing. So in 2002, my daughter got involved with the White Rock Youth Ambassadors, and that's how I met Donna. And shortly thereafter, the coordinator, Jane Tench, retired. And we got along really well with Jane. We had a lot of fun. She was a great gal, and
She is.
she was and is a great gal. She's in Beachland, which is, and we still see her to this day. And so then she retired, and we took it over, and that was in 2003. And so we've been running it since then.
So what would be a couple of things that would stand out for each of you over the course of that time with the Youth Ambassadors program? Sort of the connection you make with a number of the youth,
Oh my gosh.
You see them develop and change. Can you talk a little bit about that? And
over the years, we've had so many great young women, mostly young women and some young men. And it's just been so rewarding to this day. And I'm personal friends with so many of them. I see them often, and we get together, and they also have helped us over the years as well, with judging and coordinating and all kinds of things. And actually, we did put it kind of in quite a few years. They actually took the stage and actually literally took the stage to create the program.
Yeah.
For the evening, the gala or whatever. Yeah. So it's a good learning tool for everyone.
Yeah.
So what stands out for you, Donna, in terms of the pageant and the ambassadors program and traveling with the various parts of the community?
Well, first of all, there was Donna Furlani. Several of the most memorable girls that I remember are Lorelei Urquhart, Judy Oren, Donna Furlani. She was amazing. She went on to promote the province. And then we have had Barbara Lee Edwards, who was a newscaster, I think, in Winnipeg. She went on to be a newscaster. And I think she's a newscaster still in the US. And then we have Sun, and Sun's been successful in promoting the province as well. And that's Sun Baines. And Haley Wooden is a very, very successful young woman on, she does business, she's the
Business in Vancouver.
Editor-in-chief. Editor-in-chief. And she's an amazing young woman who we see often as well.
So you've set an example for many of them and made those connections. What is it about the ambassador program, Debbie, that you think allows those people to find themselves or to learn about themselves and to get more engaged, and that sense of commitment that may come from that you've just described with some of them?
Well, they come into our program, and we try to introduce them to, or maybe they've already been introduced, but we introduce them to the world of volunteering. We spend a lot of time teaching them how to speak, like how to craft a speech, how to do short speeches, very ad hoc, impromptu speeches, table topics. We teach them time commitment. We teach them the importance of celebration, which I think we got from you, why it is important to observe Canada Day, and what it actually means, and Remembrance Day, of course. And yeah, we spend a lot of time talking about Remembrance Day, and we include a visit to the museum to see our Lest We Forget exhibit, which highlights all the people of White Rock who trekked off to both wars. And we teach them White Rock history. We teach them a little bit of civics. We have a history of the province. And then we follow it up with actually traveling to the province, which the traveling truly is, you don't have to do it. It's, if you, depending on your budget, you don't have to do it, but it's truly remarkable because, first of all, you go to places that are geographically or historically important. And once you've been there, then it imprints on your brain. And for some of these kids, it's the first time they've actually traveled the province. I mean, they may have been to Disney World, but they've never been to Kamloops or something like that. So, we would go to Victoria to see you, and they found that a big snooze, but I thought that was great. So
I did not.
I don't know. I don't know what. Yeah. But maybe they were just not that one.
It was personally the highlight of my year.
Yeah, yeah, and also something that I really enjoyed watching was we traveled to some First Nations communities, and in some of these locales, they have a lot of First Nations participation, and that was like, it was just so eye-opening. And for our kids to see these kids who actually struggle and come from sometimes a disadvantaged situation, and the growth that they would find in the program. And these kids would interact on the exact same level because of the commonalities of the programs throughout the province. And they would form bonds, and they would have groups, Facebook groups and whatever social media things. So they would continue. And I know Sammy, my daughter, has friends across the province because of her year number one as a White Rock ambassador and number two as a BC ambassador. So, and we meet these kids all the time. We meet them, and they're, they remember us, and we still maintain connections. So
yeah, it's a great networking tool.
Yeah, so it's it had a lot of really good effects, and sometimes the kids didn't see the effects until later. They would go to university and they would want to join a group, and they would want to participate, and they would step up and say, "Oh, I can fulfill that position," because they had seen with us what it's like to volunteer, how you do it. Like the first thing you do is say, "I'll do it." And you jump in and you do it, right? You say, "Who's in charge?" "I'll do it. How can I help?" And volunteering isn't easy all the time. So they learn to continue to volunteer in the next stage of their life at their next community.
Yeah.
So what you're emphasizing is, what is it to be a citizen living in and contributing to a community?
Yeah.
Now, the history, for some people who may not know how this has evolved, it used to be a beauty pageant years and years ago, and the evolution has changed so that it really is not about looks, it's about your engagement, your commitment, your understanding. How is that? Have you seen that evolution happening in your period of time, or had that mostly happened prior to that shift happening just prior to your engagement?
Well, actually, like we love our crowns, we love our glitter, and the boys wear sashes, which is fine. That's and medallions, because that's what diplomats wear. Actually, the kids really actually like the glitter part of the program. They love the dressing up. They love doing the hair and makeup. They love that kind of stuff because they're young people and people like that. And we do spend some time on personal deportment and presentation, but it's definitely not a beauty pageant. In fact, they take a lot of flack. They're like, okay, we don't want to wear our crowns. So we did change things. And when they're in their business attire, they wear our sash and they don't wear a crown. And when they are in an evening gown or something dressy, then they'll wear a crown. But for us, the crown is a symbol of the hard work that they have been awarded this. They are actually the royalty of White Rock. They're our royalty. We treat them like royalty, and we expect them to work as hard as our royalty do work. So it's not a bad symbol. It's just some people maybe have a problem with it, but it's like everything. They don't know much about it.
Donna, would you see the kind of changes that you two have affected with the ambassador program here? Is that happening around the province? Is it the same type of evolution occurring, and or have you been sort of on the forefront of that kind of change?
Well, I think that there was a time where it was very popular in every city in the province. And then actually it was the PNE that had that they sort of created their own pageant where all those kids from all of the over the province came to. And then when the PNE kind of started changing its program, then a lot of the communities in the province dropped off. But White Rock was one of the ones that remained in, as well as a lot of the smaller interior provinces. But there wasn't anyone from, the Vancouver and Abbotsford and Langley and all those sort of lower mainland cities, because there would have been Coquitlam would have been involved, in Burnaby, North Vancouver. So it seemed that it dropped off except for White Rock and New Westminster. And yeah, that's about in the lower mainland. They're about the only ones that are left doing it.
Yeah. When we were full on, there were 33 communities across the province. There was a couple on Vancouver Island, Ladysmith and Nanaimo. And and then we had a BC ambassador program, which was sort of a next level ambassador program. And that was that replaced kind of the PNE because they no longer did it.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say about, so one of the very fun things that we have been able to do, now Donna knows about this from the longer past, but in my term since 2002, so we've had a parade, and we would go in the White Rock, the Festival of Lights parade, which is an evening parade. So that was very fun. And then we got a float. And the city got a float, which Laverne spearheaded there and decorated, and we got to, that was so much fun. And even to the cities where sometimes the float didn't actually make it. We had, so we went to Seattle, and we went to Marysville and Penticton and New West and Richmond. So that was super fun for the years that the float was around.
Well, with the evolution and change, where do you see the future of ambassador programs? Or there's with the numbers of reduction, but hopefully parades are still there. And what do you
hopefully see? Yeah. Well, we had a partner, Yona Welder, and when we decided that we would like to step back a little bit, she took over the program. And she was just full of all new ideas and kind of chomping at the bit to do it her way. So once we actually really let go of it, she just went full on. She's been keeping the program going via Zoom. So they barely get together because they're just not allowed. And they've been doing Zoom for the past 2 years. And she's still recruiting. She's got more people participating than you could imagine, and she's keeping it going. She's doing everything via Zoom. They still do speeches. They still do history, talent, essay writing. They do everything, and she's going to have the awards gala this year at Coast Capitol, the theater, and the kids are just waiting to get back onto the beaches. But in the meantime, they've been doing things like, I'm not sure what it is called, but they deliver food to seniors.
Lunch program.
Yeah, a lunch program. And
in a bag.
Yeah, and the kids really enjoy the program because for them, it's at least something. And yeah, and so Donna is still involved. She's going to be judging, and she's organizing the judges.
We're on the directors.
Yeah, we're still on the board of directors. And I still hope to chaperone, and if they travel, she doesn't have the funding that we used to have. So I'm not sure about that, but I'd still love to chaperone them.
So what are the two of you doing now that that's not there? What do you see in your future for the next 20 or 30 years? What type of things are you going to be engaged in that get you excited about the contributing? You've both given so much to the community. I'm sure you can't get away from doing some of that. What are the kind of areas that are going to fill your spare time as you act as citizens with responsibilities in this community?
Yeah, well, we're hoping to still be involved, in some shape or form. Like Debbie would like to continue chaperoning. I wouldn't mind chaperoning, um, and just helping out at other events where we're needed. I mean, we don't want to take somebody's volunteer spot though, because there's lots of people who like to volunteer. Um, but yeah, I plan on volunteering when anybody would ask me, for sure. I love volunteering.
Debbie, you're still
But
on.
we're both grandparents, so we are
Good
going
response.
to teach our grandchildren how to volunteer.
And
Yeah,
Debbie,
I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, I'm at the museum, so and then I've said I'll work in the gift shop but they don't have anybody in the gift shop. It's they don't have any volunteers yet. So, and I mean, I still have all these connections from ambassadors. We worked with the Lions and the Lionesses and the Elks and the Kiwanis. All those clubs are gone. Rotary, there's Rotary still around.
And there's still Elks.
Yeah. So when people come up with, and I've met new people now, new people from the BIA, stuff like that. So it's still about the community. I still would like to be involved. It's just, I guess nobody's doing anything right now. Like the biggest fun was when we had the Pride Parade. Yeah. Last year. It was like the only thing that happened, and it was like so fun.
I'm sure when COVID is over, everybody will be so excited to I'm so excited to see how that is going to look when we get out, and all the people will be so excited to get back and be social again, and be able to shake hands and maybe hug, and that would be so exciting.
so if each of you had a message for the people of our community and for people who may be watching this off into the future, what would the message be about the things that you've learned and the things you've felt good about yourself doing, and how that has changed you, and as a result of changing you, changing our community in so many ways? What would kind of be the messages that you'd want to pass on to people?
Well, White Rock is a very special community. I don't know of very many communities that have the close-knit ties and people, really living and enjoying where they live. I mean, when I come and drive into White Rock or drive around the area, it's just it's a beautiful thing to see. I'm sure that the future lies here for that, for sure. And I'm excited to always continue to be a part of this community, and I'm excited about that for my future.
Yeah. I would advise people to volunteer. That's yeah, and you can't just do anything. You actually have to find the right thing. And we went to this thing long time ago with Craig Kielberger, the wee guy, and he said, he asked the audience. They were mostly young people. He asked the audience. He said, "Okay, who has something that they're passionate about?" And half the audience put up their hand. And he says, "Okay, and who is having an organization or volunteering for something?" And the other half put up their hand. And he said, "Okay, you guys need to find each other." And that's I think that's how you really get engaged. I could never live my life as an expatriate. I could never move, be a Canadian in some enclave, right? It just would be lonely. I have to be part of something. And for the first time in my life, I found it in White Rock. And I think that's what, if we can teach that to people and have them practice it and try it, then it's a lifelong skill, and they can move to Timbuktu, and then they get immersed in that community in Timbuktu, and they'll be happy as a little clam.
I think most people know what they do, and some people know how they do it, but I don't think a lot of people know why they do it. And so that why is, I think, what you're reflecting, that why is the values that you bring to it, the way you're able to find yourself within the framework of others, and being able to express yourself. And hopefully the more that happens, the better we all feel about each other, and the better we're able to take care of each other in meaningful ways. And I think that's what the two of you have demonstrated so well. So our time is almost up. Do you have any final messages or words you'd like to leave for people who, again, might be looking at this as they walk through the museum 50 years from now and see, gee, there's Debbie and Donna. I wonder what they've got to say.
Yeah, we're Debna.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met Donna, and that was like, honestly, one of
We
the,
answer to either Debbie or Donna.
she's one of the best people. Donna is one of the best people you
Debbie.
can know. No, it's true. She is smart, and she's good, and she knows, she's street savvy. She can start a generator or a lawnmower, you know. She's got so many skills, and if for nothing else, my life has been made better through Donna.
Oh, and vice versa, Debbie, for sure. Oh my gosh. But we're so thankful, or I'm so thankful to have grown up in a community where there's people like you, Gordy, and people like Judy Fisk, and just people who have set such a great example for me in my past. Ruth Johnson and Connie Phillips, of course. And yeah, you know, and I still see Connie. I still do see her as well. So it's really just the connection you have with people.
And we were really fortunate. Like Hardy was first the mayor when I sort of got involved, and he was great. He was great with the girls, a little, you know, a little salty. But then Judy Foster was the mayor, and she really promoted us, and that gave us an incredible boost. So to have someone like in a position of the mayor or a city councillor, something like that, to say, hey, the youth ambassadors should be included in this event and that event, that really got us going and gave us some credibility. And we really appreciate that. And I'll never forget her for that.
Well, the two of you have talked about role models and the people who have influenced you. And the two of you have obviously influenced hundreds of people with the contact you've had and the demeanor you've taken and the approach and the caring and commitment to not just the people, but to the community broadly. So thank you so very much for all that you have done and all that you will continue to do to make our community more welcoming, more inclusive, and more caring. Thank you for joining us today on Community Connections. Please tune in to our next show as more amazing people share their wonderful stories. If you haven't already, please click on the red subscribe button below, right down there, and view our updates. Feel free to leave any thoughts or comments that you may have. We're always trying to do a better job of connecting this wonderful community. Thanks again for joining, and until next time, keep connecting. Thank you.